Ahoy there, Captain Benzie here, coming at you with another video for Eve Echoes. Today is Friday, which means of course the official Eve Echoes Twitter account has uploaded another developer Q&A, so we've got 4 more questions, 4 more responses to go over and talk about how those affect the future of Eve Echoes and what new information we can glean from those responses. Now, I'm really enjoying doing these short little news bite videos as well as the usual ship fitting guides, although it does feel like the ship fitting guides have kind of taken a back seat for the time being. This does mean that going forward, rather than uploading just on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday and Friday every week, I now will be aiming to upload on Saturdays and Sundays also. So make sure you are subscribed to the channel and you are dinging that notification bell to make sure you are notified of any uploads, because I can't guarantee a Saturday and Sunday every week, but I will try my best. If there's enough content for me to be able to do so, 100% I will do. Just obviously during the week I still have to do actual life things as well as just making content, and despite what people may believe, I don't spend my entire life on Fulmination. I actually spent most of it on the live server, and things are getting pretty heated on the live server at the moment with us here in Void, and we're having a lot of fun with GenFed. You guys are giving us some excellent content, so thank you ever so much. Anyway, with all that said and done then, let's jump right into talking about this week's developer Q&A. So here we have the Developers Weekly Q&A for the week of the 31st of March through to the 6th of April. Now, the first question here then is, will there be a lock module feature added to the ability bar to prevent accidentally swapping modules, or will updated sprites be added soon to differentiate between models that have the same icon like ballistic control and guidance control systems? Now, NE Kylum says, we plan on adding a lock module feature as well as additional icons, though we do not have a set date to share regarding this currently. Now, regarding additional icons, this is things like they mention here, ballistic control and guidance control systems, also tracking computers, all use that same icon, and it's like how inertial stabilizers and warp core stabilizers used to use the exact same graphic too, so you couldn't easily tell between the two, and if you were using a ship that had both of them, it could be difficult to remember which ones were which until they changed it, so that I think the inertial stabilizers now have that really cool glowing disco ball-like thing. I would love to see ballistic control, guidance control and tracking computers get their own unique icons, like we saw with the inertial stabilizers and the warp core stabilizers. Also, we saw it with afterburners and micro warp drives. They used to just be a minor color difference. Micro warp drives had a white pulse, whereas afterburners had a blue pulse. Now the micro warp drives have those additional sort of energy rings around them that makes it obvious that it's a micro warp drive, not an afterburner. I'd also like to see this on medium lasers. It's easy to tell the difference between small and large beam and pulse lasers, but it's very difficult to tell the difference between medium beam and medium pulse lasers. They use the exact same graphic, which makes it very easy to accidentally fit the wrong things. Same with small, medium and large armor repairers, shield hardeners, shield boosters, that kind of thing. I think those need to all have their own unique icons, or at least a letter L, S or M on them, just to differentiate. I think that would be a nice, easy way of doing it for those. Obviously, fairly easy to update this. You just got to get the art team to do it and then put it into the game. But obviously it's still fairly low priority compared to other things, and the May update is looming and looks massive. Regarding the lock module feature, this is like in other MMOs, you can lock your taskbar. It means that once you've done a ship fitting and you've put the modules into the position you like, you can toggle it to locked, and then you can't accidentally drag those modules around or accidentally stack cannons that you didn't want stacked, that kind of thing. It's a nice quality of life change. I do hope it gets added soon. It shouldn't be too hard to do, I would hope, and I'd like to see that added soon. Who knows? Who knows? Next question. Hi, when will Tractor's Beam be introduced to the game? Collecting loot takes a lot of time. Thanks for help. Now, before we go any further, I think they mean tractor beams here. A tractor's beam is the type of headlight it uses early in the morning when it's out harvesting. Tractor beams, on the other hand, are a thing in EVE Online that basically you can use to drag wreckage and loot closer to your ship. Makes salvage a very real thing, especially since certain salvaging ships and salvaging modules, drones, etc. In EVE Online, not every ship has a chance of dropping wreckage. You get 2 different types of wreckage in EVE Online, and salvaging allows you to get the second type and things like that. Ultimately, what they're asking here are the tractor beam, when is that going to be added, because it allows you to draw in wrecks from further away. Very useful on things like battleships and battle cruisers that take ages to move around and loot. You just kind of draw it in. The downside is it usually takes up a high slot, but then again in EVE Online you tend to find that ships will have 6 turrets and 7 high slots. The 7th high slot can be something like a rocket launcher, or it can be tractor beams, neutralizers, Nosferatus, that kind of thing. Sub-weapon systems, basically. Eve Echo, sorry, I imagine tractor beams would end up being a mid-slot, so that they don't take up DPS, but we don't know, Now, we previously had an idea, says NetEase Nero, to add smart drones for picking up nearby items. Due to the overwhelming amount of content in May and August, however, we decided to put this on hold. We'll continue to work on this after we finish adding all of our larger content updates listed in the roadmap. And oh boy, again, this even confirms what I've been saying. I've been saying that when people are like, oh yeah, but there's no content for ages, this May update better be, absolutely astonishing. There is an overwhelming amount of content in May and August. We've got 2 humongous updates due this year. Not just like, when Indomitable launched, it was, here's a few new ships and a few new modules and things like that. We're talking an entire new system of the game, new ships, new modules, new balance patches, a whole load of stuff coming in May, and I could not be more excited. This is really cool though. Smart drones. Again, it gives you the option of swapping some of your minor DPS, which would be like any additional drones if you're on a brawler fit, etc. You swap one of those drones out, and you swap your combat drones out for the ability to loot a bit faster at the end of the fight. Obviously, of course, you can just drag and drop your drones after the combat's over and do it that way. That's a pretty cool way of doing things. I think rather than tractor beams, having salvaging drones like that is pretty cool. I think that's a unique way of doing it that doesn't impact you too much. It does have the downside that obviously ships like frigates and destroyers that don't necessarily have drone tubes aren't able to use it. But in fairness, frigates and destroyers don't really need it anyway. They can kind of get around and loot fairly quickly on their own. I think that's an interesting way of doing it. Let me know your thoughts on that one in the comment section below. Salvaging drones, I like that. Next up, do you plan to release additional structures or features that will allow to claim sovereignty in neighbouring systems to one that is already claimed with a citadel? This would allow to increase sovereignty without the need to place citadels in every single system. Now, Melos says, oh god bless Melos, we will be adding several new structures as part of our sovereignty mechanics in August. More details to come. Darn, we didn't get the traditional Melos soon. I'm disappointed, Melos. Disappointed. Where's the soon? But no, this is a really cool answer. This is a really cool answer. We know, for example, that NetEase are working on additional modules that can be added to your structures, and things that can go into the Capsuleer outposts and the Corporation citadels, etc., that allow you to increase the rate of pirate anomalies spawning, or Inquisitors, or Scouts, or Dead Spaces, or all three at a reduced rate, or things that make it easier to find belts, that kind of thing. We know, I covered this in my Why You Want a Corporation Citadel video. We know that that's on the cards and something they're looking into. What we didn't know is that here they're adding several new structures as part of the sovereignty mechanic update in August. New structures. I'm hoping this means that we get that option of putting gate guns onto our gates again. That was pretty cool. I really liked it when they suggested they might want to do that and adding guns to their to gates in nullsec that the corporations themselves can set up and have to maintain. That, to me, is pretty awesome, and it's something I'd really like to see. And I'd like to see that, yes, perhaps rather than scanning outposts, like Corporation Citadels and Capsuleer outposts and things, there might be a nice cheap sort of beacon that can go further out and claim sovereignty in other systems. But I do suppose, in fairness, the whole idea is that, yes, citadels are what claim sovereignty. In real life, you don't sit there and invade a new country and then just put a flag there and sit there and go, that's ours now, and not expect someone else to just come along, pick up the flag and swap it. That's essentially what something like a beacon would be. You build a city there. When you conquer a new land, you build a city, you take over the city, and you actually instill a presence there. So I'm kind of I'm kind of both ways on that. I think that to claim sovereignty, it makes sense that you do need something big, like a citadel, to do so. And I think those citadels then giving the sovereignty should give you the extra features of having those additional modules and things around that can help out in that system. But I think actually claiming sovereignty should pretty much be left to the citadels. That's kind of the point of them. Anyway, moving on then. When scanning is introduced in May, will players' Capsuleer outposts be able to be scanned down by other players? If they are, will better and maybe automated defences be possible for the outpost? Ooh, that's a really good question. I'm hoping that yes for the scanning, but also yes for automated defences. That would be so cool. Anyway, Wilson responds, players will be able to scan both Capsuleer outposts and Corporation citadels. The EVE Echoes universe will see a brand new technology used to locate unknown items in space. As it can simulate signal waves sent out by unknown items, it is known as Resonance Simulation Technology. RST, I like this. We will share more details with the community later this month, so stay tuned. I'm also hoping that later this month we get access to the test server for this particular balance update, and that the exploration mechanics are included on that test server, because good lord, I want to get my hands on this. I want to try this out, and now they've given it a cool name like Resonance Simulation Technology, that's even cooler. If you have watched my video on those little screenshots that NetEase sent to the content creators about exploration and scanning, that resonance simulation technology kind of explains exactly what I said, that everything in, you're kind of scanning for these resonance waves around. You're scanning for signal waves, and then you kind of blot out the other signal waves of things that you know, so you know the planets, and so you can blot that out and go, right, okay, that's not part of this signal, and you can work out what that signal is from there. Yes, you can scan down Capsuleer outposts and Corporation citadels. This makes sense. It's a logical thing. It does mean that, yes, Corporation citadels and Capsuleer outposts are going to be a lot more vulnerable when exploration is added. So, if you're in a corporation that's adding these, having a proper defense fleet now is going to be vital. No longer can you just kind of sit there and say, oh, it's only one red in system. Oh well, we'll kind of leave them to it. Because that red could be scanning down your stations and then flying to them, bookmarking them, and sharing those bookmarks with the rest of their corporation for easy egress later. That is now going to be a problem. So yes, I think that corporations and alliances are going to need to start putting gate camps in their own sovereign space in order to catch anyone that's coming in and out unwelcomed. Otherwise, yes, you are at great risk of losing citadels. That said, we'll be adding several new structures as part of our sovereignty mechanics in August, more details to come. Again, I think that could be things like sentry turrets and that you can put onto your citadels and outposts, but certainly I kind of wish that that was coming at the same time as exploration then. I think that for the time between May and August, so that's May, June, July, and up until August, that's 3.5 months, you're going to have to defend your citadels manually. You're going to have to make sure that your alliance space is secure 24/7, even from those little annoying interdictors and things like that, which again gives me the impression that interdictors are going to need some serious nerfs in this balance patch, or they are just going to become absolutely insane with this. If you follow that corporations are going to need to gate camp their own gates to stop people getting in and scanning their citadels, then it also follows that interceptors are going to become even more popular for scanning, simply because they can avoid those gate camps without so much as a second thought. That then means that you really, really need to make sure that the interceptors aren't great at doing this scanning. Otherwise, they're great at tackling, they're great at DPS, they're great at scanning, and they avoid gate camps, so kind of what's the point flying anything else ever? Anyway, I'm ranting off topic there. I think there's two really cool little answers side by side there. Yes, you're going to be able to scan Capsuleer outposts and Corporation citadels. That's going to be problematic until August, when we get new, hopefully, defences there to help us to actually defend those Corporation citadels and Capsuleer outposts. Until then, things are about to get messy. Really, if you're in a corporation that has citadels and Capsuleer outposts, you're going to need to be on top game to make sure that those things stay alive. Anyway, folks, those are the 4 questions. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. I'm pretty excited about this. There's a lot of cool information there about scanning, about new modules and things like that. Some cool new quality of life systems that could be on the way. Now, I did find out that you can ask these questions in-game. If you go to your AI, the little sort of circular eye thing, you can tap on that and you can head through to ask questions to the developers Q&A right there. And anyone who is chosen, so those 4 questions that were chosen there, will each receive a month of Combo Omega as thanks for awesome questions. So do make sure to jump in there and give those a try. Ask some cool questions, and you may be featured in my videos as well, which would be pretty cool. Anyway, folks, let me know your thoughts and opinions and all this in the comment section down below. Happy sailing, and see you in New Eden!